Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, and today I'm finally gonna review Big City Greens Season 3 Episode 13, and this one's called Pie Off, and I got a clip for it. Hooray! So yes, for the first half I have a clip for it. The second half is called Rat Tail. Apparently there's no clip for it. I'm sorry about that, but it's how it's this is like the process. So if you've been on my channel for a while, you would know about this. Um, so if you've been watching my recent videos, I kind of discussed that I already recorded this, but I made the intro too long, so I didn't really get a chance to actually get into the actual episode because there was other stuff I had to do. So that's why I'm keeping this intro pretty short. So I just want to get out of the way. Not really get out of the way because I'm honest about it. I'm really glad to get back to the show because there were other times of thinking, oh, I didn't get a chance to get into the Ghost and Mom McGee season 2. I still need to do episode 1 for that. Secrets of Sulphur Springs, I need to do that. I'm starting Haley's on it. I just recently did a trailer reaction review for season 1 and do the episode house. I still need to do episode 1 for that. I'm still thinking about I'm kind of really leaning into doing Hamster and Gretel, so that means I'm going to do the season 1 trailer and reaction review for that show also. So there's a couple things on my plate, and I'm slowly kind of coming to an end of my summer course, so that's pretty cool. So I'm gonna have a little bit more time on my hands. So with all that stuff, I was thinking, well, I'm gonna go back to the poll and see what you guys want me to review, because I know most of you probably weren't expecting the Haley's on it trailer reaction and review. Hopefully it was a wonderful surprise for you guys, but I mean the review got a ton of views, so I'm assuming so. But when I went back to the poll, there was only one answer that was clicked, and that was Big City Greens season 3 Beam. So I know a lot of you guys want me to get back to this, and I want to get back to it too. But I was kind of leading towards which show do I go into? I go into Big City Greens. It's time I get back to it. So, without further ado, let's get into the episode. Okay. So we don't start actually here. We actually start in the truck, and obviously from the previous episode, which I've reviewed who knows how many months ago, but a long time ago. And basically Alice is with the Greens now, and Gloria is taking care of the cafe. Not this cafe, the Gloria plus Green cafe back in Big City. So the family's here. I'm assuming Nancy is back at the farm. That's what I'm assuming, because she's not in this episode. She's actually in the second half with Rat Tail, actually. I won't give any spoilers of what her part to play is, but she's a part of the second half. But she's not part of the first half, which is a shame because I love Nancy, but we don't get her every day, which is fine. So we start in the truck, the clutch, and we have Bill driving, and we obviously have Cricket and Remy, and they're like, oh, Remy, can't wait to show you downtown Smalton. That's what the town is called. And Alice and Tilly kind of catching up, and Tilly's tummy is grumbling. Is oh, will you be able to eat while I was gone? But don't worry. When Bill and the boy, Cricket, is showing Remy around downtown Smalton, which is pretty funny because it's a very small town. Because Bill's like, okay, Remy, hold on to your butt. Here's downtown Smalton. It's just a little strip of road, and then okay, that's it. I actually thought that was pretty funny. It's like the joke about the small town. Even though small towns of the downtown, it is small, but it's a little bit bigger than that. So this is kind of like a joke on that. But I didn't mind it because I kind of live in a small town, kind of. Without giving away any information, but I do live kind of in a small town, like the downtown. It's really small. It's getting a little bit bigger, but I would still say it's kind of small. People complain oh no, it's medium sized, but I don't know. Anyway, so here's downtown Smalton, and it's just a little stripped, and they get out of the clutch, and oh, here's Patty Steiner. and that's what Tilly's talking about with Alice. Is like, Patty, who's this Patty person? Like, why don't we go home? I can make you my famous blueberry pie. And she's like, oh no, Patty makes them now. Like, who's Patty? And this is where we come in. Tilly's gonna show Alice around, and then here we have Cricket introducing it.
Welcome to Patty's Diner, the beating heart of downtown Smalton. It's got everything: fine dining, live entertainment, fascinating locals, and there's even a gift shop.
So I really liked how this is kind of like a switcheroo, if you will, because back in Big City, not just Remy, Gloria also, and like a bunch of different people would show Cricket different things. Like, here's a community center, here's a community center pool, here's a gym. These are the this is how you play basketball. Let's see. What else? There was plenty of other like different stuff. Oh, this is how you find a way like in a hardware store. And the big city hardware store is very much grander than the one in Smalton. We didn't get to see this episode obviously, but there was a hardware store back in where they were from like near the farm. I think it was like mentioned in season 1. So like the one in Big City, it was like super gigantic. So Cricket learned how to navigate there, and Remy showed him the way. Bill showed him the way. Nancy, when she came in, turned her life around, showed Cricket the way. Even Alice and Grandma showed Cricket a way of like respecting his elders. Even though he's still like a little kind of against it, he does have like a little appreciation for Grandma kind of looking after him, and I really do appreciate that. Even though it's kind of like he's kind of scoffing it off, but he generally does appreciate it. So that's really cool how we have Cricket showing Remy around, because Cricket, the country is like his like hunting ground, and even though he's getting he actually, this is kind of like him like familiarizing himself, because it was kind of mentioned in season 3 episode 10. It spoils for when it was like them going back to the country for the first time in a long time, going back home. Everything seems so different to them because they've been in Big City for like about almost 2 years, I think, because I think they went past like New Year's twice. There was actually an episode dedicated to New Year's, but they went past Christmas twice. So obviously New Year's had to be after that. So the New Year's was like off screen. So yeah, I think like about 2 years that we're in Big City. So yeah, that was a long time. So that's pretty cool how we have Cricket kind of showing himself and showing Remy around. He's like, oh, here's Patty's Diner, the beating heart of Smalton. Oh, we have fascinating locals, we have fine dining, and we have entertainment. And hey, look, there's a gift shop. And this is basically, I like how we're getting back into the groove of season 1, where there's multiple different plot points. I remember there was an episode where there was A plot, B plot, C plot, and D plot. And Big City Dreams did it well. There's other shows where it tries to do 3 plot points and it kind of falls flat for me. And of course, a lot of people are just focusing on like the good stuff and they don't really talk about it much. I'm not trying to to criticize them or by any stretch of imagination, but I just think like if you would ask me like, when a show tackles different plot points in one episode, who does it well, and they name different shows, I would say Big City Greens is definitely number 1 for me, because it just does it so well. So, and I'm not sure exactly like in what order the plot points are. It's usually like the first thing, it's usually like the first thing that comes across. So obviously Alice and Tilly were talking about, Alice usually makes Tilly's famous blueberry pie, and then Tilly said, oh, Patty makes it, and she's like, oh, but who's this Patty person? She's kind of getting kind of jealous. So that's gonna be the A plot between Alice, Tilly, and Patty. So that's the A plot. And now we have the B plot with Remy in the gift shop. And it's cool that we have a split sign, the general store, this Viking, but not Viking helmet, it's like horns from like a ox, I'm assuming. TSS for, yeah. Oh, is that supposed to be East 12? Maybe. There's the different signs. Smalton flag. That's pretty cool. I think that's supposed to be like a gator. Different records. That seems pretty cool. There's a special sign. That old lady is trying to eat like a meatball sub. Okay, good luck. And is that supposed to be like her dog over there? Maybe the meatball sub is kind of covering him. And I actually kind of like how we actually get to see inside the gift shop actually, and it's not like super well designed. Like I'm not trying to give it credit where like credit is like not due, but I do like how things like you can kind of tell what they are. Like you can tell that these are like I'm not sure exactly what these called, but you can recognize it. You can recognize it as a lantern, speaker, trophy, hats, even like the depths of the shelves. Like you can't really see it, but right here, how it bends, because that's how exactly how a shelf would work. So I really like that, and the different shapes of the boxes and the bottles. It's really well done. So Cricket's kind of showing Remy like here's a gift shop, and then Remy's like, oh, like, I'm gonna see if I can get something for Vasquez, because Remy really cares about his bodyguard. I like Vasquez. Yeah, ever since season 1, his like appearance, I really liked him. So Remy's like, I'm gonna go find him a present. Okay. Even Cricket like doesn't really like know how to respond to that, because I think Cricket's still trying to wrap around his head like, yeah, like Remy has a bodyguard, so he's like, okay, you do you, Remy. Like Cricket like understands it, but it still kind of baffles him. Like this kid has a bodyguard. So like, yeah, okay, you do you. All right. Okay. And I like the signing of Patty's Diner, and basically Bill's like, should I do the triple bacon cheeseburger, or should I do a healthy this time, and then do the double bacon cheeseburger? And best cup in town. Oh, wait, sorry. Sorry, sorry. I felt something on my nose. Anyway. So Bill's like trying to choose between different burgers, and yeah, I see. I liked how they do the menu upside down. I like it. It tells you I know what I'm gonna get. Patty's famous blueberry pie. She makes my favorite, and then and then I was like, sweetie, nothing beats my homemade blueberry pie. And then here comes Patty. I like her design. And she's like, oh, hey, Tilly. And it's like, oh, like, let's do our handshake, and they do it in front of Alice. Don't blame Alice for being jealous. I mean, Tilly and her don't have a secret handshake. It's like, oh, ring, ring, oh, who's there? Wink. And then it's like, like the Greens. I saw you guys coming in and your famous clutch, and like I knew I had to come and see you guys again. So they're kind of like friends with like within the family, but not as deep because Alice doesn't know them. It's between Bill, Cricket, and Tilly. So now Alice is kind of like the odd one. The odd wad, the odd one out kind of. So that's kind of interesting. And then I like how Patty's like, Tilly, I didn't know you had a twin sister. And it's Patty, like, you charmer. You're such a flatterer. Like, this is my grandma. It's like, like, hey, like, Miss Green, your kids are so cute, but especially Tilly, can I arm wrestle you for her? Obviously, she's making a joke. This is just how she is. It's nothing bad or anything personal, but Alice, like, even like in her head, I'm not gonna play the clip because I don't want to play too much. But Alice is like, I will destroy this woman. But yeah, because Alice really cares for her granddaughter. So obviously, Alice is getting a little defensive. But obviously, she doesn't want to be rude, so that's why she's not saying anything out loud. I know, kind of saying the obvious, but I like doing that. And then so like, okay, and enough fooling around, being funny. Okay, what will you guys have? And then Bill's like, oh, I'll have it. It's like, oh, don't say anything. Hey, like Dwayne, come here. It's like, okay, here's Dwayne. He's like, I got you your liverwurst sandwich, like your usual. It's like, oh, like my usual. You remembered, and I'm like, gross. But that's like even it's even drawn gross, and that's exactly supposed to be drawn, except for the stick. That's well designed. Um, and yeah, and I think I've heard a liverwurst sandwich before. Oh, she even said it extra cold. I'm like, oh, like no, thank you. I heard of it before, but this does not make me want to eat it. And then Cricket's like, oh, like here's Cricket's plot point. I wouldn't say that Bill has a plot point per se. It's like I'm trying to figure out if Bill does have a plot point, because if you go back to season 1 in like the movie episode, Cricket had a plot point of sorry, spoilers for the movie episode season 1. I forgot what it was called, but the one with like the kiss of death, I think was like the movie, and the Croblins. So that was like the movie I'm talking about, but that was back in season 1, so a way long time ago. But basically, there was different plot points. Cricket wanted to sneak into an older movie because he thinks it's so mature. Alice is trying to save the seats for his family by, like, you know, trying to shoo people away. Tilly is wearing 3D glasses, so she thinks she's in an alternate dimension, and she's having fun using her imagination, and it was pretty funny. And we also had Bill with another plot point of him trying to show the concession boy, the one who was working the counter, how to make legitimate, authentic popcorn. So him making the popcorn, that seemed like a legitimate plot point in the episode, because that was like him kind of showing the young person like the ropes of how to do things right, like, his way. But it feels like Bill's plot point is like Cricket's plot point, so I guess you could say Bill and Cricket's. And Dwayne's. Yeah. Okay. I gotta figure it out. Okay, sorry. It took my head like to kind of wrap around it. So there's an A plot with Alice, Tilly, and Patti. There's a B plot with Tilly. Remy. He's all by himself in the gift shop. And then we have the C plot with Cricket, Bill, and Dwayne. Yeah, I would say there's 3 plot points: A, B, and C. Yeah. So Cricket's trying to talk to Patty, like, hey Patty, my usual. Oh, he even calls her Patty Cakes. He's like, you don't have a usual. But do you ever call me Patty Cakes again? You would never get one. But I like this. I love I wouldn't say this is Impact, but I do love Impact. But the way the material is in the show. Because they could have just had you could have just had Patty say, "Oh, you ever called me Patty Case again? You will never have one." She goes in close, and then Cricket's just like this, and his like neck kind of moves up. Because I've seen a couple of not really shows, but different like movies and franchises kind of do that. I don't think it's like the worst thing in the world, but it's kind of weird. But I like how Cricket kind of sinks into the sofa because it's kind of like a soft material, so he's kind of like that. So his neck is not just doing this. I really like that, and I even like how his hair's standing up, and like the lines are kind of drawn on his face, showing that he's kind of scrunching his face because he's kind of terrified. It's almost kind of like an apologetic look, like, oh my goodness, I just wanted the usual. I didn't mean to make you upset. So I really like that attention to detail, especially with Patty's Diner, how it has like the different sections on the menu, but I'm not sure what it's called because I can't read it from here. But I see like 3, I guess 3 words that are read basically for like the different sections. So they didn't really need to make that menu so detailed, but I'm really grateful that it did. I wish the splish machine had like names for the actual drinks. I'm not gonna take a point off, but I kind of wish it did. Because you did for the menu, why not for the splish machine? But I'm fine with it. Honestly, I'm fine with it. Kind of like the menu tickets. You could have like wrote something there, but you just want to do scribbles. I'm trying to be less of a critic and trying to enjoy the show more, because I think back in season 1, no one really complained about it, but I kind of realized it myself. Back in season 1, I really went really into it, and with the critic stuff of like animation stuff and how things didn't like look right and stuff. I still kind of am like that because, like, you know, I like to go into reviewer mode kind of, but with like, you know, kind of scribbles like that and like no names for like the splish machine for like the different flavors, like for the purple, orange, and what's this supposed to be, yellow? Because Patty's arm is blocking it. I don't really mind it like not having a name. I'm fine with it. But what was I saying? All right. I also love how things kind of have consequences, but also it can kind of have an impact. I love how still have Bill touching the liverwurst sandwich, like he's like so sad about it. We have Alice kind of neutral. Tilly's happy because she's glad that she's seeing her friend again, and Cricket's so scared. I love that. And the effects of the growl, I love that. And it's like, oh, that's tummy talk for the blueberry pie. And he's like, oh, having dessert first, so very classic Tilly. And then we have Dwayne's like, oh, Patty, I'm sorry, this is the last slice. And then Tilly's like, oh, and I was like, oh, that's too bad. You better take you home so I can whip you up a fresh batch of your favorite. And then I like how Patty's like, oh, Tilly, for you, I'll make a whole pie by scratch. Because even Tilly said, oh, one slice of blueberry pie. But she's like, I'm gonna make a whole pie for you. So that's really generous of Patty, because she didn't say like, oh, I'm gonna charge you for the whole pie. Basically, I'm gonna charge you for one slice of the pie, but you get to have the whole thing. Because Tilly's that special to Patty. I'm assuming Patty's gonna take out of like her own money, so it can compensate for Tilly. So Patty doesn't like lose business. I even love how Tilly handed Patty the menu, because that's what you do. Or you either hand the menu to them, or they ask for the menu, or like they will take it from you, basically, unless you specifically ask to keep the menu. But I'm really glad that Tilly gave her the menu. And I even love how like the menu is still there. It didn't just like disappear out of nowhere. She's putting it under her arm. Thank you. Because for some reason, when I see these appear out of nowhere, and like things are just like not looking right, kind of like from Amphibia of like Anne's tennis racket, she just gets it from like her magical skirt. That she's like, I have it. Like, wouldn't it be more reasonable to like get out of her backpack, which she does sometimes, or have it like attached to her skirt, like just have it there. I mean, I don't know, like to decide, give her like a satchel or something. I don't know. So I really like the detail of Patty like having to sign the menu. And so Tilly's like, oh, it'll be worth the wait. And then, oh, what about for you? I lost my appetite. And then Cricket's like, oh, I will have a meat witch, my usual. He's like, got it, one meat witch, and she writes it down. And then Cricket's like, oh, it doesn't count as the usual if she has to write it down. And then Bill's like, hey, Cricket, yeah, you have to listen to me, son. Having usual isn't all it's cracked up to be. When I first arrived here, I ordered the liverwurst sandwich. But when I ate it, it was terrible. But I never had the heart to tell Patty that how bad it was. I'm gonna play this.
I had the heart to tell Patty I hated it. They just kept coming and coming. Now I'm locked in.
Well, I'd be upset too if my usual was liverwurst, but a meat witch is meat-tastic. I'll be back.
So I really like how we had like the return of Cricket being the rambunctious, mischievous boy, and Bill just had being that parent, just kind of like, oh, I guess he's gonna have to learn the hard way. Yeah, and basically Bill's like, oh, I didn't have the heart to tell Patty that I hated it, but it just kept coming and coming. And now I'm just locked in, because when for like so long that you've been telling a person that I like this, but you secretly don't, and you actually hate it. I mean, the longer you wait, the worse it's gonna be. Could you imagine 10 years you keep ordering the liverwurst sandwich, you're saying it's great, but if I tell Patty I hate it. You waited 10 years to tell me? I wonder if Patty actually knows. Maybe she does. And maybe she says, like, Bill will tell me when he wants to tell me. And, I have respect for Patty if that's her, mentality. So, and Cricket's like, I'll be fine. He was like, a meat witch is meat-tastic. And I love how Bill's like, sure you will, son. Sure you will. So, let's see. So we had the A plot, the the C plot with Bill and Cricket, and now we go back to the B plot with Remy. It's like, okay, Valentino, Vance, what's that name supposed to be? But anyway, Valentino, Vance, Varden, Vale, and he's like, what? No Vasquez? I kind of relate to this because I'm not sure if I ever found a Ramsey. That's my name. It's on the channel. My name Ramsey. I'm not sure if I ever found it on the license plate. Maybe I need to look again. Anyway, I love the details of the boots and the hats. I love it. So and Remy's like, oh, Lily, okay, come on, there's no Vasquez. It's a door, Remy. I'm sure you'll find something. And he's like, and he's kind of thinking of different things. So obviously the license plate didn't work, but he's like, oh, hey, how about keychain? He's like, oh, this will help me hold my keys. And he's kind of like, And he's like, oh, these mugs will be perfect for holding my liquids. And he's like, And the pen's like, oh, this pen will help me protect you from bad guys. And he just stabs people. He's like, oh, there's too many good choices. And we had the meat witch. And he's like, oh, here's the meat witch. He's like, oh, yeah, my usual. Perfect. And he's like, okay, Tilly, I'm going to get started on your pie. Oh, great. Oh, yeah, I can't wait. Oh, Patty's my favorite baker. Look at Alice. Oh, love the comedy back in getting back into the comedy of Big City Greens. Oh, it's perfect. Oh, look at the face of Alice. She's like, your favorite baker. You know what? Since she's your favorite baker and all, I'm gonna go see how she does it. She's like, they're gonna be friends. And I love like the lighting of like her the signs of like her like winning. It's really well done animation. Not animation, like on drawing. He said, "Hey Dwayne, did you have the?" And Alice is like, "I don't know you. I don't like you." Patty's like, "Okay." And he's like, "Oh, Tilly may think you're her favorite baker, but I know you're just a bunch of hooey." And oh, I'm her favorite baker, and she's like, "Okay." Like, Patty's like, "What are you doing here?" And it's kind of like, "Oh, I challenge you to a bake-off." And then Patty's like, "Are you sure you want to go up against me?" And he's like, "Yeah. Award Patty's tastiest pie. Superb. Winner blueberry pie. Judges pick first place. Patty's pies. County champion. Number one pie contest. Local pie queen. Patty's our hero. Number one pie. Yeah. You know what? I'm not a big fan of blueberries, but I had tried it a couple times. I'm still not a big fan. You know what? I give Patty's blueberry pie a chance, but I really prefer like apple pie. That's just. I love apple pie, but who say Patty can't make apple pie? You know, I would love to try Patty's apple pie. That'd be pretty cool. But yeah, I just love how it's like all sparkling and stuff. And I just want to play this right here. Kind of true. Alice is a great baker. You saw those biscuits. Oh, jeez. Oh, no, not Bill's disgusting face. No. And he's basically, oh, no, the reason why you won all those awards. And Alice didn't really, I'm glad that Alice, like, didn't say, like, oh, you didn't actually win those awards. Like, oh, you cheated or something. No, she didn't say that. Like, she's, like, kind of, not, like, commending Patti on her awards, but she's like, yeah, you won all those contests. Like, you probably won, like, a whole bunch. But the only reason why you won them is because I wasn't there. And, look, you were the best. But I wasn't there, and I'm the best, and I'm going to take you down now. And, like, hey, I'm here now, so preheat your oven. And Patty's like, okay, you're on. Because, Patty doesn't like, hate Alice by any means. But I can see maybe Patty's mentality saying that, yes, I want to prove myself to be the number one baker. Because what Tilly's grandmother is saying is kind of true. Alice wasn't there for any of this competition, but this is kind of like for Patty's kind of self-esteem, saying that yes, I am the number one baker, but this is also kind of maybe Patty's way of, maybe I can actually get to know Alice's grandma, because maybe she thought, oh, there was kind of a little tension between me and her. Maybe us blowing off some steam, like, rolling the dough, like, fiercely with our rolling pins, maybe we can actually bond, maybe, in our own kind of weird way. Maybe Patty just wants some competition, and she can be the #1 baker for Tilly, maybe. Maybe, I don't know. We really didn't really go into philosophical discussion, and I don't really expect Big City Greens to do that, but I just love to do these complex theories in my head, like, of what Patty's mentality is kind of saying right now, where it's saying, I want to prove myself that I'm the #1 baker overall, that I'm Tilly's #1 baker, that I want to get close to Alice because I felt some tension, or maybe it's all three. Who knows? So she's like, you're on. And if you have Bill, you deliver a sandwich. Oh. And he's like, oh, how was your meat witch, sir? He's like, oh, oh, no, he's like, how's the usual, sir? And he's like, oh, it's good. And he's like, oh, aren't you going to ask me about my usual? He's like, I never seen your usual. In fact, I never seen you. I'm new. My name's Dwayne. My name's Wayne. And he's like, it's short for, Wayne. He's like, okay, Wayne, I would like another meat witch, my usual. And then Wayne's like, okay, one meat witch. No. The whole point of a usual is that you don't write down, you just remember. And yeah, that is the whole concept of a usual. I don't have a usual. I mean, I guess I have my own usual for me. Like, I just, when I go to a place, I know where to get. But even I change it from time to time. But he's like, just listen to what I'm saying, Wayne. One meat witch. And he's like, Wayne, don't write down. He's like, I'm just gonna draw a pencil. I'm just gonna draw it. And Cricket just breaks the pencil. I didn't really like this, how Cricket just grabbed his face, but I guess I'm kind of fine with it because you see Cricket's kind of losing his sanity, so it kind of makes sense why he's kind of grabbing his face. So he's like just remember this way: meat witch, witch meat, meat witch. He's like, great. Is he gone? I gotta get this out of my mouth. So I'm just gonna leave it right there. He's like, gross sad. And we actually get back to what was it? Patti and Alice, and they're baking the dough and stuff, and they're mixing the blueberries. And then Patty's like, "Oh, are you squishing those blueberries too much, Alice?" Is it? Oh, you should be worried about those that shapy crust you're making. It's, oh, my crust is just fine. It's like, it's time to put these pies in the oven. And they put them in the oven, and they're waiting, and Alice is still kind of worried, like, oh, maybe she is the #1 baker. Oh, she's so confident, and even when we saw Patty like banging the dough, she's like, oh, she's like a woman warrior, like a pie making machine, like, jeez. And then we get back to Cricket and Dwayne, and it's like, oh, like, I forgot usual. Like, what do you mean? I was like, which meat? Like, he's like, a meat which way? I know. But, like, I just brought you this. It was a hot dog bun with a carrot inside. Oh, my goodness, Wayne. But I agree with Bill. I would also agree with Cricket and Bill. But Cricket was very frustrated with Wayne. But Bill's like, son, please be easy on him. He's, look, that's the face of a young man who's trying his very best. He's like, I'm sorry. The only thing that can say in this brain of mine is a tune. Is a tune like a ditty? Oh, I got one for you. And he puts like the carrot like in his mouth. I'm like, Cricket, don't do that. And he's like going across on people's tables and stuff. I kind of wish he did a little ditty like in the center of the restaurant or in his own booth. Like, Cricket, don't bother the other people in their own booths. Like, they're minding their own business. If they want to sing along with you, that's totally fine. But don't interrupt their lunches. I was a little bit annoyed by that. He's like, oh, like meat. Wait, no. He's like, meat witch. Like, you had to be delusional not to know my usual. And then you see Wayne kind of getting into it. Oh, he's remembering. That's pretty cool. And he's like, meat witch. You had to be pretty delusional not to know your usual. congratulations, sir, you have a usual now. It's a me one. She's like, yes, Cricket Green has a usual. And the old man's like, that we saw from early in the beginning of the clip, he's like, yeah. And then we actually, get back to kind of Tilly, and how she, she's kind of like, your tummy's rumbling. Bill wants to get the rest of his liverwurst sandwich to her. She's like, yeah, no, I'm not eating that. I know about Dad, Papa. Like, I'm not eating that. And we have Alice, and she's the pies are ready, and both pies look great, but only one can be the number one baker. And he's like, oh, that looks horrible. It obviously doesn't, but she's just saying that. And he's like, okay, try it. She's like, okay. I didn't like how she put her finger into it. Like, that's gonna be for Tilly. I didn't like that. And I love how she just fainted with her pie, and she went like the pie Valhalla. I love it. And then her soul went back into her body. She said, what happened? And she said, oh, did you go to pie Valhalla? Oh, I guess other people had talked to her about it before. Yeah, oh yeah, my pie has an effect on people. Oh no, you're truly the number one baker. And Patty's like, oh, thanks. He's like, that means I can't let you win. And I gotta destroy that pie. And Patty's like, what? Obviously, Patty's gonna defend her pie for Tilly because, one, Tilly paid for it. Well, I guess Bill and Alice, they're adults. They're gonna be ones paying for it. But still, she's gonna get money for it. And two, this is for Tilly. And she worked hard on it. So they're fighting with rolling pins by carrying the pies. And basically, I like how Patty's out all doing the flips and stuff. The pies is completely unscathed. Oh, yeah, do better than that. Alice just tackles her. Apparently, both pies are fine. And then they're like, oh my goodness, Lily, what are you guys doing? We get back to Remy, and then he's just purchasing everything. I mean, he has the money to do it. And he's like, I couldn't find the perfect gift for my bodyguard Vasquez cashier, so I'm buying everything. Do you take credit cards? Yeah, and I guess he did, because he's just carrying all this stuff. And basically, Alice and Patty are fighting, and Tilly's like, oh my goodness, why are you guys fighting? But Tilly didn't expect this. And she's like, oh, Tilly, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry, but you were going off all this talk about how Patty was your number one baker, so I challenged her off to a bake-off, basically a pie-off. And I'm like, oh, so I can prove otherwise. I mean, I'm the one supposed to provide for you. And that was the whole crux of the episode, that she wants to be there for Tilly, basically. Yeah, she also wants to be number one baker, but it's mostly for Tilly. I'm the one supposed to take care of you. I'm the one supposed to provide for you. I make your favorite sweets, right, honey? Right, sweetie? And Tilly doesn't really know what to say. I don't blame Tilly. She's like, oh, Grandma, Tilly's heart's broken. She said, I didn't expect that you to be hurt this much, but what was Tilly supposed to do? Lie? What Tilly said was true. Patty's now her number one baker. That doesn't mean she doesn't think Alice, her grandma's cooking isn't great. She thinks it's awesome, but she's like, Patty's now the number one baker. She's like, oh, Grandma. And Remy comes in with all the stuff, and obviously when they were attacking, a table flipped over and water spilled everywhere. So Remy slipped, and Patty's pie is about to get destroyed. We get squished. Alice knows what she has to do. It's a struggle for her, but she sacrifices her pie to save Patty's pie. And then Patty's like, you, Miss Green, I don't understand. You spent so long on that pie, just like mine. Why did you sacrifice your pie to save mine? I don't understand. And she's like, I had to apologize to you, Patty. I was so jealous when Tilly said that you were her number one baker. I was always the one that's supposed to provide for her, and I just, and not necessarily that she feels kind of lost, but when she used to live in the country, then she started living with me in big city for a couple years, and now she's back in the country, and now that I'm back in the country after so long, everything's changing so much, and that's a big part of Alice's character throughout season 1 to season 3 is about change. And Alice she's still learning about it, and that's okay. And even Patty's like, oh wow, Patty wasn't really expecting to get all the feels, the feel all the feels. And then Tilly hugs her, and she's like, Grandma, Patty is my number one baker. I'm sorry, but you will always be my number one, Grandma. That no one can take your place in that. Aw. And it's like, okay, guys, and then enough with all the sap talk. Let's eat Tilly's blueberry pie. And I forgot to mention that I wish I could show the pie, but the one that Patty made has a little Tilly face on that. So and like, oh, and Tilly, oh, my eye. I'm just kidding. And I was like, oh, here you go, Tilly. I made I could use slice with your eyeball on it. Oh, thank you, Grandma. And it Cricket's like, oh, like, yeah, dessert would sound great. Like, oh, 2 meat witches or it's too many. I think it had like a quarter or like a half of the second one. And Alice has the rules. So like, no dessert until you finish your meal on your plate. Yeah, because you order too. It costs money, so they're gonna pay for it. And oh yeah, I guess the usual wasn't all that cracked up to be. And Bill's like, I told you, son, the usual is a trap you can never escape. And he laughs maniacally, and Cricket has like a face of, what the heck did I do? And that's the end of the episode, the first half. And yeah, 85%. B+. This was a great episode, a great comeback to Big City Greens for me and the channel. Obviously, it came back like, yeah, episode 11. Basically, episode 10 was like the mid-season finale, basically. So there was like a little break there. But yeah, and now back with episode 13 with like the first half. This was a great comeback. So yeah, so I like how Patty's a new character. Hopefully we see more of her. I like how Remy has all the stuff for baskets. Hopefully didn't get damaged too much. Cricket learning about how to get a usual. Cricket's relationship with Wayne. I think Wayne is a pretty good character. He's pretty funny. Alice versus Patty. Alice trying to learn how to kind of accept things, accepting change more. She's been doing good, but she still needs to accept it, and change is gonna happen at any age, and I like how Tilly's relationship with Patty. I love that, and yeah, 85% B+. In the comments below, do you agree? Do you think it should be higher, or do you think I'm rating it too high? And yeah, so everyone, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell, give me a big thumbs up, leave a comment down below. Don't forget to share the video. Don't forget to check out my community posts and my mini reviews. And I'll see you guys later today for the second half of Big City Greens Season 3, Episode 13, called Rat Tail. And I'll see you guys later today for that. Okay. Bye.